Hello folks and welcome. So Linux Mint 21.3 Cinnamon. I'm going to talk about simple backup sessions using Grsync. I'm going to first give you an example of this, and if you want to watch the video you can do this yourself. It's extremely simple to do. I am going to be syncing up several folders using a very simple point and click tool. And this is called Grsync. I've shown this before, but today's video is going to be a little bit different twist. It's called sessions. I just did 5 folders. These do have all kinds of stuff in them. Okay. So anyways, if you would like to know how to do this, then hang on. I'm going to show you how to use sessions with graphical rsync today. Anyone can do this. I am filming in 1920 by 1080. Adjust your YouTube player accordingly if necessary. Alright, name of the channel is Linux for Seniors. Linux is for any age, so don't let that be a deterrent from subscribing. And I do recommend subscriptions, that way you can watch it at your leisure. This will be more than 5 minutes. Icon should be floating above your time and date. Looks like that one with yellow brackets. If you don't find that icon and still like to subscribe, look me up on YouTube. Alright, so go open your software manager if you want to install GR. So graphical rsync, Grsync. I've been using rsync for many years. I use mostly script files, but I understand when people first start using this, and rsync is very popular in the Linux world. It's very popular for doing backups. And it does folder synchronization between 2 computers or your single computer using different storage devices. Today I'm going to be using USB. Okay, so install GR. Once you have GR installed, you can place that on your panel bar, for instance. I'm going to unpin that. So just type in GR after it's installed. And you can drag it over here if you like, and then drag it down on your panel. Or you can send it to your desktop. That's up to you. The first thing I'm going to suggest, though, is the tool opens very simply. It's a simple tool to begin with. Is to make screenshots of 3 things: basic, advanced, and extra options. And the reason I'm recommending that, because over time I get inevitably some notices from different people that they were using Grsync for a while and something happened. And I inevitably will ask him the same question: what was the settings before changes? And they go, I don't know, because I failed to make a backup or I failed to make a screenshot. Well, I'm going to give you some advice today. Before you touch this tool, make yourself 3 screenshots. And then I'm also going to talk about exporting things. Okay? After we create sessions and session lists. There's 2 items today I'm going to talk about. So your screenshot tool, you can go find in your Mint menu, but you can do a window screenshot. And I saved mine in my photos area, called it screenshots, and that's what these look like. And I can clearly see the settings. And one of the reasons I do that is because of the fact that a lot of people are moving this box around and they inadvertently click on things. It's pretty easy to do if you're trying to resize things, and you end up with stuff like that, and then you think, oh, I'm just going to close and reopen. Well, guess what happens? It retains those settings. So this is my basic setup. So I'm going to turn off the stuff that I don't like, or not on the screen. How's that? So it's a match set. And you can do the same with the advanced. Okay, so anytime your Grsync doesn't work correctly, it's a good idea to have these original screenshots before you played with this tool. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to talk about sessions. Adding, deleting, importing, and exporting. Whenever you create a session, that would be a source destination with options, you can export those out. And I usually export them to a folder such as this. Call it whatever you want. All of these have the extension Grsync on them. They have a doc period or dot Grsync and long list dot period, or Grsync. Why would you export these out? So you can import them later in case you made a mess of this. Or you reinstall Grsync and you just want to repopulate this back in here by doing an import. You don't have to redo all these. As you noticed, I have a list of these. So I'm going to give you the demo one more time. I'll point to this device. I'll just tell you what it is. This drive is an NVMe drive. If you don't know what those are, they're very fast. It's connected to a USB 3 cable. It's inside of an enclosure. Usually NVMe's are stored on the bottom of your motherboard. They do make enclosures for them nowadays, and they're fairly inexpensive. This is a 2 terabyte. Okay. I have something in my hidden junk folder right now, which I could clear out. So let me turn that on, Control H, and I'll just delete that. So to get rid of the trash, as one would say. Okay. Anyways, this is formatted also with extension 4. Okay, it's still deleting. So we're going to be using that. Now, I can use the standard default session, and I've shown this many times before, to be simple about it. You get a device, you format it with whatever format you want. I'm using extension 4. If you want to use a FAT32, so be it. But more importantly, just remember FAT32 cannot accept files, single files, above 4 gigabytes, which is a rarity, but it does happen. Extension 4 doesn't have that limitation. Okay, we're going to pick Mark is our user for today. It's just a made-up name. We can either click the documents here or here. It doesn't matter. And that'll be our source. And now the destination, we want this nice USB device that I was trying to clean up a couple seconds ago. All right, and I'll talk about delete on destination in a minute. I'm just going to hit the play button. So it made a copy of the documents folder exactly just like Mark had it. Okay, so that's an exact duplicate. I'll make that a little bit larger for you if you like. All right, so these are identical currently. I can also add more folders manually. I'll do music. And sorry, I should have clicked that. Now I have 2. And let's do one more. And this time I'll click over here for pictures and hit the play button. All right, so these are just simple sync ups. I haven't done anything special really. But I also created sessions. So these sessions are also pre-programmed with whatever folders and destinations. And I also have lists. Okay, so to give you an example of that, this is what I call the long list, and it does all of these folders. Now I have another one called Mark's Home folder, which I don't need at this current moment, and default is currently empty, so I deselected them. So I'm going to do all of them right now. I don't need to have all of them turned on though. I can do this also by disabling these. So all this is docs only. Or maybe music and pics might be another option. I'll show you how to create these in a second. Okay, so the long list, I normally had all of them turned on except for Mark's. Because a Mark's Home folder also contains these, that's why it's redundant. All right, so you'll see that Mark's Home folder is sitting in here. And I'm going to talk about some cautions when you do that, because it does copy even your hidden files and folders. All right, either way, we can start with default. This is normally empty. Okay, so I'm going to wipe that clean so we're on the same page. I'll do the same thing with the drive. All right, we're going to start by dumping all this stuff out, and we're going to create sessions. So let me first start by showing you that. You cannot delete the default session. It's not possible. But you can delete all these. So while I'm doing this, I'll explain something about sessions. So sessions can be created as shortcuts. You can define the folder and the storage device for shortcuts. And as you're making these shortcuts, it saves you time, so you don't have to create these over and over again. Okay, it takes you a couple of minutes to create these, but once they're created, they're to your benefits later. And the sessions can be done in two ways. You can create list sessions or regular sessions. Regular sessions is how your list sessions get created. So I normally start, this is just my method of doing things. And let's click on his home folder for a second. Mark is a made-up name. Maybe documents are important to you also, as well as to Mark. Pictures, maybe some private folders too. Now in here, I don't put spaces in here when I deal with rsync and grsync lately, because it just gives me less errors when I do script files. So I keep the same formatting, no spaces in the folder names. So let's start with a blank slate. So you have default with empty source and destination, and this is how I prefer to do this. You can do it however you want. I hit plus and I give this a name. We're going to start with documents, and I'm just going to use doc. You don't have to spell it the same way, it's just a session name. Then populate that with folders. You can either click it here or here, it doesn't matter. All right, and we're going to use the same storage device today, which is that nice fancy NVMe storage device. That's really quick. Now, I might as well stop here and talk about this delete on destination. I like to use that in my script files also. And what it does is it makes an exact duplicate of whatever that folder is to that device. And that includes when I hit this play button 2 days from now, after I delete stuff and add stuff. It makes it exactly the same. So I'm going to use that feature. Now I'm going to switch this back up to default so it's blank again. And then do the next folder. The next folder in line will do music. Doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase, it's just the session name. And we'll click that folder this time, this way. And open and click that device. So that's complete with the exception of that. Go back to default, well, it's blank again. And our next folder is, we just did music, right? Yes. My junk is next, and again, it doesn't have any spaces. But I'm going to use lowercase letters. As long as you know what that is. Okay, but we still need the folder name. So Rsync can find it and sync it to that device. Delete on destination. Go back up to default so it's blank. Plus, this time I'm going to put a 2 behind there because that's what that folder is called. And we'll go find it. And same device. We'll just keep that for now. You can always change that later. All right, and what do we got? We got doc, music, my junk 2, and let's do pictures. We'll just call it pics. Add session, open, pictures, open, device, open, delete on destination. So we got documents, docs in other words, music, my junk, and let's check these. Do they match? It looks like they do. Music says music, yes, that looks okay. My junk 2, and pics. Okay, all of those look okay. And I am going to create one more master one for Mark's home folder. We're going to go to default, hit plus, call it Mark's, your username, whatever your username is, Mark's home folder. Okay, because our username is Mark today. Hit the open and hit his house. Your house will have your name on it. Just do that. And hit open and that device. And now it'll do the whole home folder. Be very careful with this. You need a lot of space on some of these. I'll talk about that in a second, and I'm actually going to show you what it copies. All right, now we have default, doc. Let's check all of these. Mark's home folder, music, my junk 2, and pics. Okay, they all look good. They all seem to match what the name is. So now we can talk about session lists. Session lists can come in handy for multiple folders at the same time. you can do, again, default, empty, plus, and this time give it some different name. I'm going to call the first one short list. Okay. And we're going to add as a session set. This will not give me the same dialog box. It looks like that now. Now my short list, I can do docs, music, and we'll leave it at that. Let's just replicate those. You want to add one more, like pics? You get the idea. This is very versatile. You can turn these on and off. It would defeat the purpose of me clicking Mark's folder because Mark's folder contains the documents, music, my junk, and etc. So this is a short list. Default doesn't currently contain anything. All right, so right now I'm going to go to default and create another one, and I'm going to call this one long list, or at least try to. All right, so long list is a separate list. Add session set. So it does not contain the short list name in here. It contains the other ones you created though. Okay, so the long list, I can technically click all of these. Would I click this? I could, yes, but I'm not, because Mark's home folder would be redundant, because Mark's home folder would also contain documents, music, my junks 1 and 2, and pictures. So in this case, no, I'm going to leave that off. So this is how that would replicate if I had these selections on. Again, this is a very fast drive. So 5 folders in this case. If I chose to reduce that, I can certainly do that all the way down to 1 folder if I want. Or possibly 3 at my choice. You get the idea? Okay. I'm just going to leave all of them on except for Mark's and default. So now I'm done with long list and then short list. Now it'd be a good idea after you've created all these things is to export these. And you can create yourself a folder and start exporting them out. You do them one at a time though. I do also recommend that you do all of them and not just the short list or long list, because they will not contain these. You have to do them separately. At least that's what my experience was. Maybe things will change in the future. Okay, so short list does not contain long list does not contain short list, but it will contain these others because they're standard ones, standard sessions. Importing again is used for bringing them in case you reinstall Grsync, or if they got corrupt. So if docs were corrupt, it's not working right for you and you can't figure it out, you can always delete that. Hopefully you made a copy in here. So you can import that in here. All you do is do that and go find your backup, in this case, that, and hit open. And it should import it back in here. That's the sole purpose of the import-export. So now you can see how you can create these things. It's not that hard. Yeah, it takes you a couple extra minutes, but now you're done. Unless you want to do a different device, which we can also do. We can create a whole bunch of these sessions for different devices even. You would probably call it doc 1 or doc A, or maybe even call it doc USB 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to show you how to copy something to this device. I created a Mint backup folder in here just on purpose. So we're just going to use the standard one in here with default. So I can hit that. I'll do documents, hit open, and then I'm going to open this, but I'm going to go to the other location instead of the USB device and click that demo drive and the subfolder, Mint backup in this case, and hit the play button so you can see it. Now I have this already locked in. I can create more folders in here. I'll do music here also manually. That's 2 folders. Make them bigger if you like. And one more. I'll do pictures and hit the play button. You could also save that as a session, right? Yes, you can. Now I would have a different drive. I would call that something different, of course. But anyways, now you know about sessions. Lots of different choices, yes. Again, would I probably use this command here? Yes, I would. If you noticed, most of these have that on, if not all of them. So the long list gets the information from your previously created sessions. So if you left that off and it's not syncing properly, you may want to look at it, because your list is a reference to that. You don't see that information in here though. Okay, so there's nothing in here other than a list and set options. And the set options are shortcuts. But you can do this in multiple sections or lists. Now let me talk about Mark's folder. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to wipe the drive. And I'm going to first discuss this. So Mark is our made up name user today. And in here, you have some hidden files and folders. You can also use Control H. So this file here, the period cache or dot cache, contains sometimes enormous amount of data from your web browsers. So hopefully you're cleaning out your browsers once in a while, because this thing really grows. But there's a lot of things that do consume space after time, but more importantly, there's hidden files and folders. They start with a period or a dot. Now you see it, now you don't. All right, so I'm going to click Mark's home folder. We created this earlier. Okay, and I'm going to hit the play button. So Grsync works this way. The first time you sync up things, it takes the longest. That didn't take too long, did it? No. How big was this? It's a gigabyte. A gigabyte in 3 seconds. That's not too bad. Well, that's because that's an NVMe. Made in the last year, I think. All right, so it's inside of an enclosure connected to a USB 3 cable. Let's put it that way. All right, so more importantly, it has all the folders. I'll make that larger for you. And then I'm going to hit Control H so you can see it also copied the hidden ones, including that massive cache folder if it keeps growing. And you'll find that after several months of using your web browsers, this could be enormous. You may want to check the properties once in a while on it and clean out your browsers. Anyways, my whole point was, when you make a copy of your home folder, it does have a lot of data. And this is showing the trash cans because I have hidden turn on. Now I don't. So as I pointed out, this was a gigabyte worth of stuff. So that means you're going to have these fairly large. If you're using a very small USB device, then you need to rethink your game plan if you're going to copy everything in your home folder. You may want to stick with something simple like documents and music and pictures, and also do lists. Okay, this way you can refrain from using that unless you absolutely need it. But I gave you the options today. There's lots of things to think about. Even my short list contains everything. I can turn it all on. It's just a list. I choose what I want to sync up. And keep in mind though, the attributes are listed here though. So if that didn't have that, then that folder is not doing that kind of stuff. So your basic session is what you need to check before you start making these lists. Hopefully that was clear as mud. Thank you for watching.